Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome members of the public, councillors and council officers. Members of the public are advised the meeting will be live streamed and recorded, and the live stream recording will be made publicly available on YouTube and council's website. I'd like to do an acknowledgement of country that Nillumbik Shire Council respectfully acknowledges and recognises the Wurundjeri Wurrung as a traditional owner of the land on which Nillumbik is located. We pay tribute to all First Peoples living in the Nillumbik Shire, give respect to elders past, present and emerging, and extend our respect to all First Peoples. We acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded. Councillor Joy, would you like to do the Good Governance Pledge?
I would, thank you. As councillors, we are mindful of our civic responsibilities and obligations. We pledge to take them seriously and to carry them out with diligence and integrity. We know the decisions we take will affect the people and environment of Nillumbik now and in the future. We undertake, therefore, to make sound and principled decisions of lasting value in a spirit of fairness and for the good of all. We also pledge to serve the needs and well-being of the community and the environment in an open and honest manner and to the best of our abilities.
Thank you, Councillor Joy. Next, I'd like to invite Peter Ness from Greenwedge Community Church to come up and do a prayer. Thanks for coming again, Peter. Come on up. Thank you.
Yeah, if I might pray. Dear Lord, we want to thank you for this beautiful Greenwedge Shire that we have come to serve in various capacities. And I believe, Lord, that you've had your hand upon this land and chosen the councillors here to preserve it for future generations to fulfil their purposes. May Nillumbik Shire continue to be a thriving environment and a community of content people with flourishing businesses. We pray for those who are experiencing hardship at this time also. Please bring them comfort and strength and be at work in their personal situations. We bring to you the decisions and discussions that take place here tonight. May the wider implications of those decisions always be on the minds of those who make them. May these decisions be good and wise, and that this room be a place of respect to all and bring honour to the office of councillors. May this meeting continue to inspire good leadership, wise decisions and thoughtful change when needed. And I pray over the agenda tonight and all that it contains with special thought for the draft budget and the overall impact that it will have on the Shire now and into the future. And I pray, Lord, that the executive team and the councillors will be able to work well with the directions and decisions that are made here tonight. And may tonight be an environment of cooperation and listening with your outcomes, Lord, for the Shire of Nillumbik. And I bring this to you in Jesus' name. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd just like to talk a bit about the Greenwedge Community Church that do so much for the community. The church actively participates in community events like the Wattle Festival, Good Friday service and community Christmas carols. They've supported an Indonesian orphanage and the Hurstbridge Primary School chaplain in the past. They were established in 1993 as part of the Acts Global Churches. The Greenwedge Community Church is dedicated to serving the Nillumbik community, reflecting their love for God and the beautiful Greenwedge Shire. Thank you for coming tonight. Moving on to apologies and leave of absence. Councillor Peter Perkins has requested a leave of absence. Do I have a mover for the motion?
I move that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Brooker. And a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Joy. Councillor Brooker, would you like to speak? Councillor Joy? No. Any other councillors like to speak? I'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Are there any councillors who wish to disclose a conflict of interest? No. I'd like to move on to the presentations now. Councillor Joy, would you like to do the first one? We'll invite Paige Lyon to come up. Thank you.
Paige Lyon receives $250 for being selected to represent Australia at the ICU World Cheerleading Championships in the USA. Paige is a committed dancer whose training began at St Helena Secondary College, where she completed both VCE and VET dance. Paige has performed with Melbourne Dance Theatre, contributing to their achievements at the AASCF. Is there a pronunciation for that as an acronym, or do you spell it out?
Just spell it out.
Yeah. AASCF National Championships, and currently trains at Empowered Dance. Paige was recently selected from a highly competitive national field for the Australian dance team and will represent her community on the world stage at the ICU World Cheerleading and Dance Championships in April. We wish Paige the very best for the competition and for future sporting pursuits. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's for you.
Thank you.
And we want a pic to commemorate, pop it on the socials. Thank you. And if you'd like to say a few words.
I'd just like to thank Nillumbik, and I'm really excited to represent Diamond Creek and Nillumbik and part of Team Australia, because we all come from a bunch of different states, and I'm the only one from Melbourne, so it's really special to be representing Nillumbik in America. So I'm very excited. Thank you.
Councillor Coe? Alia, are you here to come up? Thank you.
There we go. Hi, I'm Kim Cope from Sugarloaf. Alia is our first representative for Sugarloaf for receiving these awards. I am really pleased to congratulate you on that. I'll read the speed now. Alia Colmeyer receives $200 for being selected to represent Victoria at the Hockey Australia Under-21 National Championships in Victoria. Alia is 16. So that, to me, when I read this, was blown away. It's pretty amazing. Alia is currently a member of the Hockey Australia Under-16 Future Squad and has been selected to compete in the Under-21s Championship in Canberra this April, and will also complete in the Under-18 Championships in Darwin in July. Alia has represented Hockey Victoria since the age of 10 and currently is a student at Waverley Christian College. With selections across multiple age groups this year, she has represented Victoria a total of 11 times. That's pretty amazing. Pretty stoked. We wish Alia the very best for the competition and her future sporting pursuits. Congratulations. to say anything?
I would just like to say a big thank you to you all. It means a lot to my family for this money. We really appreciate it. My parents spend a fortune on me every year going to these national trips, so it means a lot. Thank you.
Councillor McKay. Felix, would you like to come up?
Hello. Felix Donnell, who's in my local ward in Swipers Gully, receives $200 for being selected to represent Victoria at the 2026 Hockey Australia Under-16 Championships in Tasmania. Felix attended Eltham East Primary School, which is where my kids go, and now attends Parade College in Bundoora. He's previously represented Victoria at several national sporting events, including the Hockey Australia Under-14 Championships in Perth in 2024, the School Sport Australia Under-15 National Championships in Canberra in 2025, and the Hockey Australia Under-16 Indoor Championships in New South Wales in January 2026. This is exhausting. That's great. Very busy. Felix has also participated in a range of community sports, having played football of the soccer variety with the Eltham Redbacks, rugby with Eltham Rugby Club, cricket with the North Eltham Wanderers Cricket Club, and basketball with the Eltham Wildcats. He's currently in his second year as a football soccer referee with Football Victoria and officiates junior matches throughout the local area. And we wish Felix the very best for the competition and his future sporting pursuits. Congratulations. That's very impressive. Well done. Would you like to have a photo?
Yeah.
Would you like to say something?
Yep. Good evening, everybody. I'd just like to have a big thanks to everybody in the Nillumbik Council. Hockey can be a very expensive sport, especially at the state level, and parents need to take time off work and spend money on equipment, especially me as a goalkeeper. We have equipment everywhere. So I just want to thank you. And I also want to thank you for supporting my local club, Greensborough, as it's very helpful. Thank you very much.
Councillor Demerick. Xander, would you like to come up?
It gives me great pleasure to acknowledge Wingrove Ward's own Xander Botha, a proud member of the Diamond Valley Athletics Club. Xander's been selected to represent Victoria in the 400 metres at the 2026 Australian Junior Athletics Championship to be held in Queensland. This selection is noteworthy as it marks Xander's return to competition after spending a year sidelined with injury. Impressively, this is the second time he's qualified to represent Victoria at the national level, having previously competed in the 2024 championships. Council's pleased to provide a $200 contribution to support Xander's participation in this event. And on behalf of Council, we extend him the warmest congratulations for his determination, resilience and outstanding achievement. We wish him every success at the championships and with his future athletic pursuits, and we look forward to him going under 50 seconds at this championship. So good luck, mate.
I just wanted to say thank you very much. My family and I really appreciate the support from council. It's track is also quite an expensive sport, especially when we're going off to Queensland and stuff like that. This year has been very significant for me. Last year was pretty terrible. I had some really bad injuries throughout the season, which meant I qualified for my events. When nationals rolled around, I was completely sidelined. Could not compete at all. This year we've worked really hard with my physio, and I've been able to drop nearly 3 seconds in my 400 metres. So it's been a really good season, and I'm really looking forward to see what I can do representing Victoria in Queensland in 3 weeks' time. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Wonderful achievements. Moving on to the confirmation of minutes. Do I have a mover and a seconder?
Yes, I'm happy to confirm the minutes of last meeting.
Thank you,
24th of
Councillor
Feb.
Mackay. And a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Cope. I'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. We've received no petitions or questions from the gallery, so we'll move on to the reports of advisory committees. Do I have a mover and seconder for the recommendation, please? Councillor Joy. And a seconder? Councillor Cope. Thank you. Any councillors like to speak?
Do we have to move it before it's seconded? That's okay. We can. Yep. So I'd just like to move that council notes the minutes of the advisory committee meetings reported as per attachment 1.
Thank you. Would you like to speak?
No.
Anyone like to speak? Okay. I'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Next is the officer reports. So we have first up the Audit and Risk Committee update. Do I have a mover for the recommendation?
Yes, thank you. I would like to move this as per the papers, please.
Thank you, Councillor Mackay. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Cope? Would you like to speak, Councillor Mackay?
Yes, I will. Thank you very much. This was my first audit and risk meeting, and it was quite riveting, actually. I was pleasantly surprised. So we covered discussion and looked at lots of various risks that the council poses, and I've made a little highlights reel, which I thought I'll summarise. So we talked about new regulations coming in the workplace regarding psychosocial hazards. We discussed that we're managing this quite well, and that there's not many, with the new changes coming in, there's not many gaps there between our current practice and new legislation. We talked about updating or improving our payroll review with an internal audit for processes and reports. We're looking at our robustness of our tree management plan to mitigate risks of property damage and risks from trees, which is obviously a big one. In terms of IT risks, we are upgrading a lot of our legacy systems, and we're rolling out training for phishing, PH phishing, for staff and hopefully councillors, because anyone can get phished. Also reviewed child safety standards, and I just want to commend the great work in improving process around this and working with Children's Check. We took some lessons from another council in regards to the Macrae landslide and just did a bit of due diligence around that. So looking into risk here, the only place identified would be around Blue Lake in Plenty Gorge, which is Parks Victoria land, but you could potentially look into a landslip overlay embedding into the planning scheme. And then we just touched on our ongoing but currently stalled issue at Black Gully Road with the devastating dumping of 50,000 cubic metres of rubbish, which has stopped, thank goodness. The spoil is still there, and that's still going through the VCAT process. And that's the highlight from Audit and Risk Committee.
Thank you, Councillor Mackay. Councillor Cope, would you like to speak? Any other councillors like to speak? No. I'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Moving on to the draft revenue and rating plan 2026 to 2029. Do I have a mover for the recommendation?
I would like to move the motion, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Brooker.
I would like to move the motion as per the papers.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Demarick. Councillor Brooker, would you like to speak?
Yes, I would. We are releasing this draft revenue and rating plan as we are proposing the introduction of differential rates for 1, substantial agricultural land, and 2, trust for nature land. These new differential rate categories will replace rebates that were previously applied to those categories of properties. This report also lists general rates at 100% or the base rates, farmland at an 85% rate or 15% discount for farm properties, commercial industrial at 115% or a 15% premium for those properties, vacant land at 150% or a 50% premium to encourage development, and the 2 new differential rates, sustainable agricultural land at 65% or a 35% discount for those properties, which equates to the rates those properties previously attracted. Trust for nature land at 85% or a 15% discount for those properties, which equates to the rebate that previously applied to them. These differential rates are far easier to understand than, for instance, if you look at page 6 of attachment 2, which shows the rate in the dollar for those categories. I submit that the rate in the dollar is of no real kind of moment or relevance to most residents. It's a tool we use internally to come up with the rate calculation for each property. So from a clarity perspective, what we're seeking for is the differentials is far preferable to say up front what they would be and what I suppose discount they would attract, which is approximately what the rebate would be. All residents can see quite openly and transparently what these properties and how they're going to be rated. So I would say, I'm sure you're all kind of asking what qualifies to be a category of property like that. That is described in the report, but to recap, for sustainable agricultural land, you must be classified as farmland and meet those requirements, be a minimum of 30 hectares, demonstrate land practices consistent with our land stewardship objectives. And for trust for nature properties, you must be subject to a trust for nature covenant on your registered title. That means that covenant is transferred on sale of the property. It exists in perpetuity and it imposes very onerous restrictions on what can occur on the land. For instance, it restricts construction of buildings, roads, prohibits intensive agriculture or land clearing. You're required to manage pests and weeds, and on it goes. It really is for those landowners who place conservation really at the front and centre of their property ownership and wish to preserve that for future generations. If we now skip ahead to the next agenda item, the draft budget, we can see that the Trust for Nature differential rate applies to 59 properties and the sustainable agricultural land to 32 properties in Nillumbik, which is about 1/3 of 1% of total properties. And the budget also tells us that they represent about 1/3 of 1% of our total rate revenue. So it is a small, I guess, amount of our total rate collect, but it's now going to be transparently disclosed. I would say, and I do like to end with a fun fact, from the 1st of January 2024, properties with a Trust for Nature covenant are exempt from land tax in Victoria. So this draft revenue and rating plan goes on out to consultation, and the Office report in dot point 5 states that some properties will experience a modest reduction in benefit, but a larger number of properties will receive an increased benefit. If you are impacted, you have the month of April to inform us to what degree, and we will listen and possibly agree with you with what your position is or persuade us otherwise. All that said, the draft strategy also gives a fuller and more complete description of the waste management charge. I point out possibly that the single most easiest thing, or maybe not the easiest thing, but what people can do is to adjust their waste collection from a 120 litre bin to an 80 litre bin. That's a saving of $141, or about 5% of the average rate spill in Nillumbik. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brooker. Well said. Councillor Demerick, would you like to speak?
Yeah, just a couple of quick points. We do note that the state government has set the increase in rates at 2.75%, which is significant, as they are doing significant amount of cost shifting towards us, and our rates do make up 70% of the revenue of the Shire. I think one of the really good initiatives out of this, as Councillor Brooker has said, is the sustainable agriculture land and the Trust for Nature land is having those as differential rates. It makes it quite transparent, makes it a lot easier to administer, and for most people it will not be much of a change. Again, as Councillor Brooker has said, this is going out for display and we are inviting people's feedback on it, so we'll look forward to hearing from that at future PPC meetings. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Demerick. Any other councillors like to speak? Councillor Joy?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, just briefly, I just wanted to acknowledge my support for this effectively reduced rates for Trust for Nature and sustainable agricultural properties. In my mind, this goes to acknowledge the effort that's expended by these property owners who are either adding to taking care of the natural environment in their Trust for Nature properties, or putting enormous effort into sustainable agriculture practices, and the greater benefit that has for both human and planetary health.
Nice one. Thank you, Councillor Joy. Any other councillors? No? I'll now put this motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. The next item is the draft budget 2026-2027. Can I have a mover for the recommendation?
I move the motion, please, Mayor, as per the papers.
Thank you, Councillor Brooker. A seconder?
Thank you. I'll second that, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor McKay. Councillor Brooker, would you like to speak?
Yes, I would. I'm feeling under a little pressure. The pastor, Peter, who was here this evening, specifically referenced the budget tonight in his prayers, so I hope I can do this justice. There are a number of takeouts from 26-27. The two that will attract the most attention, the rates will increase by 2.75%, the maximum allowed under rate capping and the waste management charge by 4.26%, reflecting cost recovery. I should say the landfill levy, one of the components of that imposed by the state government, has increased from $129 to $167 per tonne, over 30% in the last 4 years. For those disappointed, we have come to the maximum allowable under the rate capping framework. I would remind you that in Metro Melbourne, just one of 32 councils in 25-26 increased their rates by less than the 3% allowable under rate capping Bayside. So these are tough decisions. I make the point that we have now had 10 years of rate capping. Our budget analysis as councillors has shown our operating costs have grown faster than our rate capped revenue. That is a function of a number of factors. When you project the next 10 years, the likelihood of rate-capped revenues falling behind growth in expenses is, I think, highly likely. Nillumbik don't have natural growth in our revenues. The budget shows a growth in rateable properties of just 54 in 26-27. I don't know the numbers, for instance, in our neighbours in Whittlesea and Banyule, but I do know that the Whittlesea population increased by over 8,000 residents in 24-25. So you would guess that as many, many thousands of additional rateable properties and subsequently revenues for that council. Obviously that presents different challenges, but it needs to be said, when we increase the rates to the maximum allowable, it is a simple decision, but never an easy one. The nature of council outlays, building types of raw materials, aggregates, gravel, cement, limestone, that type of thing, we know they've gone up substantially over the last 3 years. The enormous state government projects have impacted the supply chain and impacted the capacity of council to deliver the required infrastructure investment necessary to maintain our footpaths, roads, reserves to the standards we have actually mandated in our various strategic documents like the Road Management Plan. To touch on one aspect of borrowing, $1.25 million for the conversion of the Eltham Leisure Centre to electric heat pumps. This is an outlay that has a payback period reached between 6 and 7 years. After that, we bank the savings from lower operating costs for hopefully the next 20 years. So Nillumbik will do good by lowering admissions and do well by lowering costs. I record thanks to the Community Infrastructure Fund initiated by the Federal Labor Government that makes the project a compelling one. That is good borrowing that equitably shifts the costs from current ratepayers in part to future ones that will enjoy the benefits that facility provides. Before speaking specifically of Blue Lake Ward, I make the point that most council outlays are implemented across the Shire. All roads maintenance, tree canopy maintenance, maintenance of reserves, sports ovals, that sort of thing. So, on to the CapEx projects in Blue Lake Ward. And for those who say that all politics is local, I certainly think all ward councillors would agree with that sentiment. So, resheeting of almost 3 kilometres of roads with outlays of $80,000 for Eismans, Hackett's to Frederick Roads, Yarrambat. Playground renewal, Eastgate Reserve and Apollo Parkways are 3 different components of $80,000. Upgrades of $130,000 of the Diamond Valley Library. A huge drainage project, Yarrambat War Memorial Park, 2 Youngs Road, $460,000, which will make some major improvements in the overall drainage of the oval, but also in that area, which, if you know, is a very kind of low spot. $60,000 allocation for the development of a dog park in for a plan for the development of a dog lake in Blue Lake Ward, Greensborough being one of the suburbs in Nillumbik without one. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brooker. Councillor McKay, would you like to speak?
Yes, I would like first and foremost to implore the community to please engage with this. It was, I believe, last year 8 verbal submissions. We really want to see and hear from the community in Nillumbik what they like and what they don't like, because it is paying your rates and seeing what your rates are going to is actually quite important for a lot of people. So I think we really want to see you engage with this. We want to put out a budget that we're proud of, that reflects what the community wants and expects, and what they prioritise as well. So now's your chance to do that. There'll be various ways you can do that, but don't leave it too late, and don't leave it to be something that you lament after the fact. So I just wanted to highlight a few of the environmental improvements investments we're going to put into in this budget, which is very exciting. We've got the ongoing implementation of the urban tree canopy strategy and the biodiversity strategy, and that includes such things as, and we're also going to, and also reviewing our site tree management and works for high use sites in our community. So we're looking after and managing those trees in high use sites as best we can. Further assessment of bushland reserves to track ecological change and guide management priorities so that we have an evidence base when moving towards our biodiversity targets. Big one, increased funding for weed management in our reserves and also along our roadsides, because we hear you. You're not happy about the weeds on the roadsides. We want our bushland reserves to be the best that they can, and weeds are an absolute scourge on our beautiful green wedge. It's a priority for us. We want to promote and support our Friends of groups and our environmental volunteers, and we're also slightly increasing the Nillumbik Gardens for Wildlife program. So we're all very happy to be introducing this into our current budget. I'll just take a little leaf out of Councillor Brooker's song sheet there. So for the residents of Swipers Gully ward, we're looking at Research Park Oval Sports Field lighting upgrade, which will be fantastic for the cricket and football club there. Lots of work going into Allan Marshall Reserve. We're looking at a playground upgrade and hopefully a path that doesn't take you along the main road without a nature strip. It is very busy and dangerous there, riding your bike and walking right along the roadside. So we want to actually have a path that takes you through the park so you can enjoy that beautiful green space. But yes, I'll just end on my initial point, which is please read it, please get on to us, please engage with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McKay. Any other councillors like to speak? Councillor Joy?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, echoing Councillor McKay's sentiments around encouraging community to engage through this consultation period for the budget. And just wanted to highlight two specific things for my neighbours in Edendale Ward who have spoken to me about some key issues for us. So buried deep in the budget, in the attachments on page 41 of 70, it doesn't have its own line item, but I just wanted to highlight on page 41 where we have $0.86 million to be expended on parks, open spaces and streetscapes. Under the public open space infrastructure renewal and upgrades of $0.3 million, this includes a shelter and additional seating for the Eltham North Dog Park in the small dog area. I know a lot of lovely local residents and adorable little dogs who will be very pleased to hear that we have this in our draft budget. And I really hope that this one gets all the way through to adoption. And further, on page 44, this one does have a line item. Again, some of my neighbours have spoken to me about this issue. Old Diamond Creek Road. Anyone who lives in the southern end of Diamond Creek near St Helena knows that going down Old Diamond Creek Road to then get across Ryan's Road and get into town and get to the bus stop and get to the trail and get to all the places, it's quite treacherous because there's no footpath on either side of the road on the lower half of Old Diamond Creek Road. So we do have an allocation here for investigations into whether it's possible initially to build a footpath here. So again, interested in your feedback on all of the budget, but particularly those two items that I have had a lot of my Edendale residents and neighbours speaking to me about. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other councillors like to speak? Councillor Turmeric?
Thank you. Most of it has been well covered, but I do note that we've got money in the budget for the 100-year anniversary of the Kangaroo Ground Memorial Tower. So I think that is a very significant monument within the Shire. And it'll also bring it back to front of mind as a tourist venue. And if you haven't been there, get out and have a look at it. It has a great perspective of the whole Shire. Very happy to see that we're doing proactive tree maintenance in our open spaces. We have a lot of open spaces, but we need to keep on top of it. We've had a few incidents where cars have been hit or those type of things, and we want to make sure that doesn't continue. Money towards the urban tree canopy in our built-up areas. So again, important and very particularly important for the character of the Shire. We spoke earlier about the simplifying of the rate strategy. Again, I think it's a good initiative. It will have efficiencies and it means more money is available to be spent elsewhere. Support for biodiversity in the reserves and on the roadsides, and also support for our Friends group. We have a huge amount of volunteers across the Shire, and what we can do to support them and to keep recruiting, I think, is important. And the people of Wingrove can look forward to one of the biggest investments in the Shire in a long time, with the upgrade of the heat pumps and the solar electricity in running the Eltham Leisure Centre. And again, it's one of the biggest costs for energy in the Shire, and so it's great to see that being managed and reduced. But I thank the councillors for their work on this, and particularly to the staff who have put in a lot of hours, and we look forward to feedback from the community, and so that we do get this right. Not everyone will be a winner out of it, but we want the most available for the most amount of people. So let us know if we've got any blind spots, or let us know if your favourite project is in there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor de Barrick. I'll now put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. The next item tonight is the review of Council's Advisory Committee policy and terms of reference template. Do I have a mover for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Joy.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to move that Council endorses the Advisory Committee policy and procedures and the terms of reference templates at attachments 1 and 2.
Thank you. A seconder? Councillor Brooker? Councillor Joy, would you like to speak?
Thank you. Yes, very briefly, this is essentially an internal process matter, but it does, of course, affect members of the community who participate in our advisory committee. So a review's been undertaken of the Council's Advisory Committee policy and the terms of reference. I should say the advisory committees exist to provide advice and expertise and community perspectives that assist us with our decision making. But the review considered any gaps in the current framework. There was a particular focus on clarifying the standards of conduct and roles and responsibilities and a range of processes. And also some minor administrative amendments, and also some clarity on the term, the length of terms for members. So thank you to the officers for undertaking this work. We appreciate the consistency across the advisory committees. It helps us as councillors to see that consistency across the groups. So yes, very happy to support this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Joey. Councillor Brooker, would you like to speak? Any other councillors like to speak? I'll now put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Next, we have the gambling harm minimisation policy. Do I have a councillor to move this motion?
I would like to move the motion as per the papers, Mayor.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Yes, Mayor.
Councillor Cope? Councillor Brooker, would you like to speak?
Yes. Look, before addressing the adoption of this policy, I would like to share some material that has been provided to myself and Nillumbik from the Local Government Working Group on Gambling. I would start by saying that I was probably likely to be in the personal responsibility camp as regards gambling. That was before my time as a councillor, where the scale and dimensions of the problem have been presented to me. Our policy here and our policy in the Health and Wellbeing Plan firmly supports this activity being regarded as a public health issue. exhortations for individuals to adjust change behaviours will have been demonstrated overwhelmingly in the last 30 years, fall short as gambling harm lays havoc to many communities. In February, the local government working group was presented with the Gaming Machine National Standard and Victorian Appendix. These standards are set by the Victorian Gambling and Casino Control Commission. These amendments relate to the introduction of new standards for gaming machines from August of this year. That means all the old machines do not have to comply with the new standard. So in Victoria, it is perfectly legal until August 2026 to allow losses to be disguised as wins. The new standard will prevent celebratory sounds and visuals when a player loses money on a spin. That's right, lights go off, winning noise kind of happens. The sounds come from the machine when you lose money. This typically happens when you bet $1 and receive 50 cents. This will continue on all the old EGMs in Victoria until they are replaced by new machines that have to comply with the new standards, where when you have a net loss on a spin, the new EGMs will be prohibited for not suggesting you have won by displaying sounds, lights, as though you had. This is how insidious these machines and this industry is. I recall Russell Crowe in the movie The Insider say how cigarettes were a delivery device for nicotine, an addictive substance. I say EGMs in Victoria are a delivery device for dopamine. That is the chemical that is released when the brain anticipates or experiences a reward. It is a driving motivation to repeat pleasurable behaviour and anticipate rewards reinforcing those behaviours. So in Victoria, the dopamine that entices people to keep gambling, the lights, the sound, the excitement of winning that the machine makes that happen even when you lose, that is the gambling industry, ruthlessly exploiting the players who use their machines. That's some industry. It takes your breath away. That happened not because of some coincidence, but because the gaming industry intended to addict as many of its players as they could, intentionally, deliberately, and shockingly, and will keep doing so until all the old machines are replaced via the new ones, via the replenishment of new for old EGMs. I say again, EGM are delivery devices for dopamine. Even when the players lose, the sounds go off in Victoria. The working group also produces vast quantities of statistics relating to EGMs that, as you would expect, paint a very bleak picture. Australia has about 18% of the world's poker machines. It is the accessibility and prevalence of EGMs and pubs and clubs that contribute to Australia having the largest losses per capita of any nation in the world. That's right. For those that say it's a personal responsibility issue, a public health response as described in this policy is necessary, and even then, the insidious nature of this industry means us public policy people are fighting a losing battle, just like the players of EGM machines. Australia has around 196 EGMs, 183,000 of them in local pubs and clubs and neighbourhoods. That's 76% of the world's EGM machines located in pubs and clubs. Most EGMs in the world are located in dedicated venues or locations, think casinos, Las Vegas, Macau, racetracks, that type of thing. My argument then is we are exactly right in adopting this public health framework. The details are in the policy. I've just presented the argument about why I think we need that response. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brooker. Well said. Councillor Coate, would you like to speak?
May I? I echo Grant's good words there. It's most important that our council shows issue with the gambling industry in the community, and it's very good that we can show how we can help harm minimisation of a industry that, if addictive, can cause issues. So thank you, and thank you to Grant pointing that out. Cheers.
Thank you, Councillor Cope. Any other councillors like to speak? Councillor Demaric.
Again, I concur with Councillor Brooker, also noting that people carry around in their hand a computer which can connect them to online gambling 24/7. And it is a dopamine response. But as with drugs, as with alcohol, as with gambling, as a council, we need to be wary of not concentrating on the issue, but on concentrating on what we can do to offer an alternative. And I look at the parks, the sports grounds, the opportunities that we do have here that other people don't have. And again, we have a very low number of electronic gambling machines, but we do have a lot of parks. We have a lot of cycling tracks, those type of things. And so if the more we can encourage people to get out, do healthy things, find other things to do, I think that is the most important thing that we can carry on from this. And I would like to see our state government and all governments move away from being reliant on gambling revenue as a major form of tax within the community. And again, gambling advertising, gambling results being put up all over the place. I would like to see that cut, and again, more effort put into what are the alternatives, what can young people or what can our elderly get into that is as much fun as sitting there throwing money away and watching lights flash at you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Demaric. Any other councillors like to speak? I'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Next, we have the Risk and Safety Quarterly Report, December 2025. Do I have a councillor to move the motion?
Yes, I'll move that. Thank you, Mayor, as per the papers.
Thank you, Councillor McKay. Do I have a seconder? Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Brooker. Councillor McKay, would you like to speak?
Yes. I just wanted to... this is quite a good report too, just to get an understanding of the risks and issues the council has. But I wanted to sort of hone in on one particular thing, which 4.3.2, which makes me very cross. Notable property incidences and damages experienced in the December quarter included, devastatingly, vandalism of public toilets at Eltham Town Square and Alistair Knox Park in Eltham, and another episode of vandalism at the Eltham Library. It's just, the community hate it. It's incredibly disheartening. It's a waste of money, and it's going against everything we're trying to do here to build a great community. And I just want to thank the officers for being on top of this so quickly, but we just talked about the budget. We want to spend your money on other things. We don't want to be having vandalised public toilets. And then I just wanted to highlight that there is a Victorian graffiti register. So if you, as a resident, see that there is graffiti, you can record this via an app or the website. And this enables taggers to be identified and retrospectively reviewed when and if they are caught, but it also shows graffiti hotspots to Victoria Police for further investigation. So it's also great to get data on the number of graffiti offences, the type of graffiti incidences, and all the rest of it. But yeah, pretty disappointing to read that in this risk. We're trying to mitigate risks we are in control of, and we are not in control of this one. And it's pretty sad for the community. It's sad for us, and it's a waste of money. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McKay. Councillor Brooker, would you like to speak? Any other councillors like to speak? Councillor de Bruin.
I'd just like to note there's a disproportionate number of incidents which relate to operations, and just would like to recognise the men and women who do get out there every week and operate large machinery and power tools and those sort of things on behalf of the community. And we just need to acknowledge that there are risks inherent in it, and I am glad to see that our operations people are working hard, always with safety and occupational safety at the centre of what they do. But I think we just need to be conscious that we do have a lot of people who are at high risk regularly, and we keep working towards getting that down as we move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillors? We'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Next, we'll move on to the lease of the Eltham Redbacks Football Club. Do I have a councillor to move the motion? Thank you, Councillor Joy.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'd like to move that Council executes a new lease and licence agreement with Eltham North Redbacks Football Club for their use of facilities at Eltham North Reserve over the next 9.5 years. That Council returns the funds held by Council to the club. That Council resolves that attachments 1 to 3 remain confidential. And a late addition to this motion, the officers brief Council annually on the contribution for renewal costs.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Dwarank. Councillor Joy, would you like to speak?
Thank you. So the Redbacks are certainly a very important club in our community. Founded in 1967 as the Eltham Soccer Club, evolving to the powerhouse that they are today, with around 1,000 members who compete at all levels, ranging from the National Premier League to our local community competitions. And certainly I was out and about on my bike on the trails over the weekend, and was quite surprised to see that essentially they were playing games all day long. So a very busy facility indeed. So the lease pertains to 2 natural turf sports grounds. So that's the Eltham North Top Oval and the Eltham North Adventure Playground Oval, also the Eltham North Pavilion, and of course the synthetic soccer pitch, which is FIFA certified, and occasionally the Eltham High School Oval. Lease length is 9.5 years. And there's an agreement in there also for the club to contribute to ongoing maintenance and renewal costs. With regards to the returning of funds, so that's from previous arrangements for the club's contribution. They were paying monies to council that we were holding for when the time comes that renewal works are to be undertaken. Now that we have this new agreement, which I think is better for both the club and for council, we'll be returning those funds, and then the previous agreement, the new agreement will supersede any previous arrangements. So yes, we're very pleased that we were able to negotiate this new agreement with the club. And pleased to continue our relationship with the Redbacks and thank them for their valuable contribution to our sporting community.
Thank you, Councillor Joy. Councillor de Merrick, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Mayor. Just echoing Councillor Joy's sentiments, it's great that we have got this lease in place. Eltham Redbacks are one of our most well-supported clubs. They're also extremely well run and extremely efficient, and we look forward to working with them over the next 9.5 years, which will see significant improvements in and around the that precinct, and we will work closely with them. And thanks very much to the officers who have been negotiating this on behalf of council over the last 6 months. I think it's an important piece of work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Demaric. Any other councillors like to speak? We'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Next, we have the tender report for Bashir's Road Special Charge Scheme construction. Do I have a councillor to move the motion? Thank you, Councillor Cope.
I would like to make the recommendation that we put the motion for the contract per the papers, please.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Demaric? Councillor Cope, would you like to speak?
I think this is an important development for Bushes Lane. Bushes is it's pretty well in a rural area, but it's used in summer by tourists who go and see the Yarra down there and use it as a swimming hole. But it's most importantly also that the CFA use it for in summer season to access the river for water resources for their firefighting facilities. So this is an important development, and I would like to see that the council also implementing the concern for the residents in Bushes Lane, that they make a family-friendly area at the end of the Bushes Lane near the river, and maybe have some picnic areas for family-friendly access. So I think it's a good development, and I applaud the residents for putting together and recommending that the scheme is the majority of the residents put forward to the development of that made road. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cope. Councillor Demaric, would you like to speak?
This has been years in the making. It's been a test of patience for officers and for the community. Glad to see that it's up and running, and we'll look forward to the outcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillors like to speak? We'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Next, we are seeking endorsement of Nillumbik Shire. Sorry, Councillor Cope, do you mind doing the resolution, please, for the tender?
May I state that the council accepts the tender submitted by the preferred tenderer, MJ Construction Group, for the sum of $309,529 plus $46,429.35 for contingency, inclusive of GST.
Great.
And
thank you. Moving on to seeking endorsement of Nillumbik Shire Council motions for the MAV State Council meeting on the 29th of May 2026. Can I have a mover for the motion?
yes.
Councillor Cope.
May I move the motion per the papers?
Can I have a seconder for it?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Brooker. Councillor Cope, would you like to speak? No. Councillor Brooker?
I just want to say I want to refer to our council plan that references the trial of virtual fencing, which one of these motions speaks to. The trial was an advocacy piece around Yan Yeen Road 2 to Major Roads Projects Victoria. Our council plan was adopted in September 25 before this parliamentary inquiry into wildlife road strikes in Victoria was handed down. It basically is saying that virtual fencing doesn't work. So it's back to the drawing board to find and investigate alternate initiatives that will be more effective in reducing harm to wildlife. The council plan does reference targeted measures in wildlife collision hotspots, including speed management signage. So we at this point are left with those actions. But we do want some research, some funding for what may be a better solution than what virtual fencing has proved to be. I think what the motion to the MAV is saying, it's just not satisfactory to say that virtual fencing is not effective. The motion is about pushing the state government to fund some new research that will deliver on the, and on the promise of virtual fencing, but be more effective than that proved to be. So that is the thrust of one of these motions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brooker. Any other councillors like to speak?
Mayor, am I allowed to say a second point? Following on from Councillor Brooker's point of view with the virtual fencing, there was also a major recommendation that speed of transport and logistics on our Nillumbik Road or on roads in the roadside roadkill issues, the recommendation was speed control and speed lower in the area. So I would like to see and recommend the council would also have a look at very hot spots and look at if there could be some improvement with speed control. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillors like to speak? We'll now put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. We've now got an instrument of delegation to the Chief Executive Officer. Can I have a councillor to move the motion?
Thank you. I'll move that, Mayor, as per the papers.
Thank you. Seconder for it? Councillor Demaric. Councillor Mackay, would you like to speak?
Yes, just briefly, this is a document to formalise what the CEO does here, Carl Cowley. So he can, the powers and functions delegated, they sound quite, to determine any issue, take any action or do any act or thing, which is quite broad. But there is a list of things that Carl Cowley as the CEO can't do. So, I mean, you can't elect the mayor or the deputy mayor, you can't enter a contract over $300,000, and just some other safeguards to uphold democracy and the things we love most about local government. And yes, this is just an official document to outline these things. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mackay. Councillor Demaric, would you like to speak?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Again, I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but the council itself has only one employee, which is our CEO, Mr. Carl Cowley, who I think does a fantastic job, tremendously enabled by the 300-odd staff that do report through to him. And as Councillor Mackay did point out, he has very broad range, very wide range and broad sweeping ability to, or powers invested in him. And again, works very closely with the council and fully support this delegation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillors like to speak? We'll now put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Moving on to the instrument of delegation for council to council staff. Can I have a mover for the motion, please?
May I please make that motion, Mayor? Thank you. May I make the recommendation as per the papers?
Thank you. Can I have a seconder for the motion?
Yes, I will second that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cope, would you like to speak? Councillor Mackay?
This is a similar formalised document, and it just outlines similar responsibilities from a variety of staff, senior staff, and what they are delegated to do and not do. So it's quite a formalised document, which you can read. But I'm in support of endorsing this for the ability of the council to function. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillors like to speak? Councillor Demaric?
Again, council is a highly technical area, or local government is a highly technical area and quite legalistic at times. It would not be possible to find 7 people who could cover all of these areas. And again, under CEO Cowie's delegation. We have an amazing staff who are right across all of these issues, and as I say, it's as technical as planning to laying concrete, to waste management, to childcare or maternal health. Again, all specialised areas, and these powers are delegated to the staff via this instrument, and we wish them all the best for the next term of this delegation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillors like to speak? We'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Moving on to the Instrument of Appointment and Authorisation, Planning and Environment Act 1987. Can I have a mover for the motion?
I would like to move the motion as per the papers.
Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Booker, would you like to speak?
Yes, these are for the council officers delegated the responsibility of the Planning and Environment Act 1987. That is, so all of the planning department that make the planning decisions delegated to them, most of which don't come to us. Most of those decisions are made under delegation. So it goes to the smooth running of council generally, that they are made under delegation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Joy, would you like to speak? Any other councillors like to speak? We'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Moving on to the tender report for the Diamond Creek Outdoor Pool Heating Plant Upgrade. Do I have a mover for the motion? Councillor Joy.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'd like to recommend that Council accepts the tender submitted by the preferred tenderer as per the papers.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Demarik. Councillor Joy, would you like to speak?
Yes, thank you. So just very briefly, this tender is for upgrade of plant at the Diamond Creek Pool. It's at end of life, no longer fit for purpose, and so this upgrade will increase efficiencies by degassing the facility and will certainly complement the recent improvements that we've seen at the pool and the pavilion, and also just to acknowledge that this project is co-funded by the Commonwealth Government.
Thank you. Councillor Demarik.
Yeah, as Councillor Joy pointed out, this is a war memorial pool. It has been there for a long time, and the plant looks like that. So if you go in and have a look at it, and I commend the staff that have been running it, because they have had to almost sail it for the last year to get it through to the point where we can now upgrade it to state of the art, and we should see increases in efficiency, increases in consistency of water quality. But again, the whole plant room is at a stage that it is at end of life, so I would expect that we may be spending a little bit more money in this area in the very near future with regards to filtration. But the upgrades have been well received and make the place look a lot neater, easier to run, easier to clean, and again, these upgrades will make that even easier to manage the facility and provide a consistent water quality and a consistent opening hours for the community into the future. So great upgrades, and thanks to all of the officers and the other levels of government that have helped with this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillors like to speak? I'll now put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Moving on to the tender report for booked curbside hard green. Oh, sorry, Councillor Joy.
Thank you. I'll just go through the resolution, and that is that Council accepts the tender submitted by the preferred tenderer, which is entire services and maintenance, for the sum of $350,160 plus $35,016 for contingency, the rest as per the papers.
Thank you.
As per the screen.
Thank you. Moving on to the tender report for the booked curbside hard green waste collection. Can I have a mover for this motion?
Thank you. I'll move this, Mayor, as per the papers.
Thank you. Seconder?
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor McKay, would you like to speak?
Yes, this is a very important contract that affects every ratepayer in Nillumbik. So I'll just go through it. So this is for booked curbside hard waste and green waste. So summarising, the contract term is for an initial period of 5 years with 2 times 2-year options to extend the contract, but it shall not exceed 9 years. So the current level of service for Nillumbik's hard waste collection is 1 annual collection of 2 cubic metres per year for residential properties paying the waste management charge. So this is unchanged, but the thing that I am extremely pleased about in this contract is, should council decide in the future to increase that service, there has been ability to have that brought into the contract, because we know that not everyone utilises their hard rubbish each year, but perhaps once every 3 years you might want to collect an extra large hard rubbish, and you don't want to be penalised. I don't like that you may have to pay extra, even though you have not been utilising that service for the previous years. So should the community like that explored, please contact me. But there is an ability there to vary that in the future should council choose. So I'd just like to thank the officers here for incorporating that into their tender. And I just also wanted to go through, pardon me, so the tenderer has provided evidence of business continuity, contingency and emergency planning and procedures, including the availability of alternative collection methods and staffing methods. There's going to be improved recycling and reclaim with this tenderer. So, for example, if you had e-waste or mattresses, that will not be going in to the compactor. They can be collected separately. And we've got some improvements for our ratepayers. So we will be doing a digital collecting report that integrates the council system, and it will allow fast and reliable identification of booked collection from illegally dumped rubbish. We'll now move to an online booking system where residents will now have the ability to cancel or reschedule booked collections within a 24-hour period via the online portal. And if you have non-conforming or excessive items, you will then be notified and discussed with, not just left there. And it will also allow for a later booking cut-off time for the following week, which will be great. So you will not be receiving a sticker in the mail at the moment. It will all be done online. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McKay. Councillor Cope, would you like to speak? Any other councillors like to speak?
I'd just like to say, remember, Councillor McKay said to contact her if you want to change this. I'm not sure that it is a great idea.
You'd like to speak, sorry. Councillor Brooker.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I think dot point 15 talks about, demonstrates the size and the scale of the contract, in that we have a probity advisor appointed when it's over $3 million. I don't know if that's widely known in the community, but just to say that contracts of this scale means that the council officers participating in them, and that is gathering information from the prospective tenderers, the emails, all that sort of thing. There's a level of oversight on that to make sure that council, in fact, are getting best value for money. So I wanted to point that out. I also, agree with, as Councillor McKay said, under dot point 4, this contract does provide flexibility to be changed into the future. That is the main kind of point to make. I think that if residents aren't satisfied with the current service, there are opportunities to speak to their councillors, submit at various types of processes, council plans, budget cycles, that they want some changes made. So we have, through this contract, the capacity to make them if we are sufficiently persuaded. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brooker. Councillor Joy?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd also like to just express my support for Councillor McKay's suggestion. I think it's very pragmatic and it helps families who don't necessarily do their clean out every year, but maybe they do it every couple of years. And yes, I agree, if you haven't been using a service annually, there should be a little bit of flexibility that maybe you could use it every couple of years. So I commend Councillor McKay for sharing such pragmatic, helpful ideas, and I'd definitely be supportive of something like that. And I also welcome members of the community to contact me about that as well.
Thank you, Councillor Joy. We'll now put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillor McKay.
Yes, we would like to resolve that Council accepts a tender submitted by the preferred tenderer, WM Waste Management Services Proprietary Limited, for the schedule of rates disclosed in Attachment 1 and enter into the following contract. As per the papers, do we say a price? No. Not today. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we've got the informal meetings of councillors' records. 24 March 2026. Do I have a mover for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Demaret.
I would like to move that Council, in accordance with item 20 of the Council's governance rules, meetings and procedures, receive the informal meetings of Councillors' record, which is attachment 1 in the papers, for the meetings held.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Cope.
May I second that?
Councillor Demaret, would you like to speak?
Just quickly, the range of topics covered in this is the Positive Ageing and Advisory Committee, the Arts Cultural Advisory Committee, CEO Employment Matters Committee, Councillor Briefings, Councillor Pre-Meet, the Health and Wellbeing Committee, the Inclusion and Access Committee, the Youth Council meeting, another councillor briefing held on the 3rd of March, another CEO Employment Matters, and the Planning and Consultation Committee. So quite varied, a lot of people involved, and just out there for the public record. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cope, would you like to speak? Any other councillors like to speak? We'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. We have no notices of motion tonight, but Councillor McKay would like to do a delegate report.
Yes, I would. Just a little summary about some of the really enjoyable and great events that the Shire Council and I can say the council group are very proud to support. So one of our recipients of the triennial funding, there was a great turnout at the Eltham Jazz Festival in February. I've never seen Commercial Place so full, and everyone is having such a wonderful time. And there was a makeshift dance floor in the town square, and I just wanted to just endorse this event and thank the organisers and relay how fantastic it was. I enjoyed seeing Councillor Brooker and Councillor Demaret there. We also had a wonderful International Women's Day event, and I just wanted to give a shout out to the communities team here for putting that on. It was a sellout. It had great reviews, and we were absolutely chuffed to host keynote speaker 2015 Australian of the Year, Rosie Batty. So what a very powerful and inspirational woman, and that was just such a great event. It was also a great panel of our community award members, local Nillumbik women. So that was a hit too. And thank you to the Nillumbik Senior Citizens, the Chinese Senior Citizens Association, for hosting myself and Mayor Joyner celebrating their Lunar New Year celebrations. That was on a community grant, and that was a great event. We felt very welcome. The local state member and the local federal member were also in attendance, and they're doing some great work there. Tuesdays is Nillumbik Chinese Senior Citizens Day at the Senior Citizens Hall. So they're my delegates' reports.
Thank you. We have no supplementary or urgent business, and we will now move into a confidential matter. So can I have put forward a motion to move this into confidential matters?
Yes, I do that motion to, as per papers, to go into confidential, please.
Thank you, Councillor Mackay. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Cope? All those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. We will now move into a confidential session. Good night, everybody. Have a great night. Thanks. Bye.